Hi everyone. Today we will see another demo of AWS services. Let's start from beginning. So today we will create EC2 instances, which are nothing but virtual systems, virtual servers, which we will create on AWS to perform our workload on various environment. As EC2 provides us a different and varieties of workloads, varieties of CPUs, memories to do our program, to do our workload in very efficient manner. So today we will create two EC2 instance in two different availability zones. So this is the architecture of the demo which we are performing today. In this demo we are just choosing a AWS region in which we created two EC2 instances in two different availability zones. So we attached both the EC2 instance with the EBS volume in the same AG, so that we have to create two EBS volume also, so it will be automatically attached with the EC2 instance, and then we will install some web server in it and show you some card with the instance details on it on web browser with port number 80 on port number 80, which HTTPD service. So let's start. So let's get started. So today let's log into your AWS console and just type search in the EC2 instance in the search bar and click on EC2. For this, you will see at the EC2 console you don't have any instance running, any key pair is generated, no any key pair is generated. Some security groups are present, but the security groups we can create it for, not create it for right now. So we have to create two instances in two different AGs but in the same region. So right now we are in the North Virginia US East 1 region. Just click on launch instance. So for the launch instance page we have to provide a instance name. So let's choose it as instance 1. Next scroll down and choose the Amazon Linux AMI. AMI is nothing but Amazon machine image, which is, you can think like a OS images. Like we have different operating system running in our laptops like Mac OS, Windows, Linux. We have different versions of Linux. So Amazon Linux is one of the Linux version. You can also try it out, Red Hat version of Linux. Debian is one of the Linux version, or you can also choose it from here. So for now, for this demo we are choosing Amazon Linux. There are different Amazon machine images provided by different versions of different operating system images, AMI. Just click on it and you can see some are of the free tier eligible, that you can use it for free tier for few time of resources. So we are choosing Amazon Linux 2 AMI, which is kernel 510 SSD volume type. Click on it one, click on this. Next you will see that its architecture is 64-bit and it is a verified provider ID, which AMI ID is this one. You can also, if you use Amazon CLI, then you can use this one, Amazon AMI ID, to create your EC2 instances in using CLI mode, using command prompt. So for now we are just choosing Amazon Linux and this Amazon AMI. Then on the next we have to choose the instance type. Instance type is nothing but how much computing power you need in your operating system. So T2 Nano is the lowest, which 1 GB of 0.5 GB of memory and 1 CPU is there. T2 Micro is considered under free tier eligible, which is 1 CPU and 1 GB of memory, and there are multiple more from T2 Micro to ZT Metal, which is 48 CPUs to 384 GB of memory. For now we are just choosing T2 Micro. Next we have to choose the key pair for the login purpose. So we can also create a key pair to log into the system, but for now sake of simplicity we are just going with the without any key pair. You can also create a new pair, click on it and just provide a key pair name. I used it for OpenSSH. It is the RS encrypted private key file, and it will create a key pair for you. Through it your EC2 you will be accessible. You will access your EC2 instance on different systems. For now we are not creating it. Just click on it and choose the proceed without a key pair. Next we have to set the network settings. So just click on edit. So we have to first select the VPC virtual private cloud. So for now we are just selecting the default one, but you can choose your own. If you have your own VPC network, then you have to choose your VPC. Then for the subnet, in which availability zone you want to create this instance, you have the different subnets available with availability zone. There are 6 availability zones present in US East 1 North Virginia region. So let's choose US East 1A. So in this availability zone we are creating our first EC2 instance, and then let's enable auto assign public IP. So it will assign public IP address automatically, and for the firewall we have to create security groups. So it will allow some port to access the to access different websites hosted on our EC2 system, or to access the SSH terminal from different devices. So for now we are just creating another security group SG1 for demo purpose. SG1 created on this timing. And for the inbound security group rule, we are just providing the HTTP access to the instance. We are not having access to the SSH. We are not providing the access to the SSH port, which is 22 port. So we are just opening the port 80 to the outside world so that we can connect to the instance. And we are set up a simple web page where our EC2 instance details will be described in this HTTP web page. So we are accessing that port 80 for that, and then click on scroll button. Then we have to configure the storage. For that I will choose 8GB storage with different configuration. You can choose GP general purpose SSD, GP2, GP3, provisioned IPO, input output provision system SSDs also. For now we are just choosing the GP2, and scroll down. In the advanced details we are just creating you can use the advanced details for different purpose like domain joining, directory, hostname, IP addresses, etc. But we are just setting it as default, and we are just using the last feature of it, using the user data. So user data is basically whenever this instance starts, it will automatically downloads or run the codes which we provide in the user data. So let's go there and choose the user data file which I created earlier. Let me show that to you. Now this is the user data file, in which this is you have first update the yum, which is the yum repository through which we can install different packages in AWS Linux, Amazon AWS Linux. So we installed httpd and git using that command. Then we set some environmental variable, and then we are creating a HTML page on which this is the HTML page on which we are just showing the we created a instance card in which our instance ID, instant IP and instant availability zone are printed on it. And then at last we will start the HTTPD service. So this is the user data file. I will provide this file in description, so you can use that. So I will just choose that file from here. So if you choose that file, so this is the file we are talking about. So just we are all set with the configurations, and just review with the summary part. In the summary part you can review what are the changes you have selected, and just click on launch instance button. It will take few seconds to create the instance, and in after few minutes it will be start and running. You can see the success message that successfully initiated launch of instance. This is the instance ID. You can also see the logs that it will first initialize request, creating security group, then security group rules are will be added, then launch the initiation process. All parts are succeeded, and next scroll down and click on view all instances. You will see our first instance one will be in the pending state, and wait for few minutes or few seconds. You will be seeing that this will be in the running state. So we are created our first instance in the availability zone US East 1A. So let's check it out whether our user data code will be working fine or not. So just copy the public IP address or public IP for DNS and open it in a new tab with port number 80. So you can see that our instance ID and instance type and the availability zone US East 1A are printed on a card. So this is the code which we are providing in the user data. You can see that this is the instance ID, which is the same of this one, and this is our T2 type instance, which is of T2 micro, and the availability zone is US East 1A. Let's go and create another instance in the US East 1B availability zone. So just create and launch instance button, type the name as instance 2 instance. Again we are choosing the same configuration, just walk you through that. Amazon Linux, SSD volume type. I'm not choosing any key pair for right now. Edit the configuration of network setting, choose the default one, choose the subnet of availability zone of US East 1B. So for the first instance I will be using US East 1A, and for right now I am using US East 1B. And next we will using the earlier security group. You can also create another security group for purpose. So I'm using the earlier one, that is SG1, in which 80 port is allowed, so we are using that one only. Next we will choose the 8 GB of GP2 volume, and in the advanced details we will again upload the user data file. This is the file, and just review all the configurations and click on launch instance. This is our second instance launching in our North Virginia region. So we are just initiated two instances in this region, instance 1 and instance 2. So currently this is in pending state, so wait for few seconds or minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, it will be in available state. So right now it is shows that it is in running state. Both our instances are in running state. So instance 1 in US East 1A and instance 2 in US East 1B availability zone. Let's check the second instance. Copy the IP address or DNS, IPv4 DNS, and click on open it in a new tab. This is our first instance with instance ID. Wait for few seconds, it will for the first time it will take some time because it will download all the user data scripts and enable the HTTPD service, which is enable our web server. It will take some time, but let's try it again. If you face any issue, just refresh it and again copy the public IP address and just paste it again. So you will see our instance is up and running. This is our second EC2 instance, EB. You can see that. So in this manner we can create EC2 instance in AWS. So in this demo we see that how we can create how we can create instances in different availability zones. So this is all about this demo. See you in the next one. Thank you.